When I was a kid in school, the worst thing that could happen to you was to get kicked out for cheating. Now you can go to jail for it. The cheaters we're talking about aren't students, they're teachers. And it's happening all over the country. You're probably pleased to read in your local paper that your kid's school is scoring above the national average on standardized achievement tests. In other words, Johnny can read, write, and compute a lot better than his older brother could, say, 5 years ago. Now the bad news. There's evidence that those high scores are bogus because of cheating. Your kids aren't cheating, their teachers might be. Teacher is a cheater is an open secret in school districts all over the country. There are great pressures on teachers to get those achievement test scores up. In some states, there are cash bonuses for teachers, and their school prestige, and increased funds for schools.
I want to remind you that this morning you will be taking tests in the areas of language and mathematics. These tests are very important to each of you and to our school.
There's supposed to be great security surrounding achievement tests. Teachers must sign out for the tests and the students' answer sheets.
Thank you.
Tests are supposed to be sealed. Often they are not. Since the point of the test is to learn what children know and when they know it, teachers are not supposed to know what questions are on the test. So they will not, even subconsciously, teach the test to their classes. That's the theory. But one South Carolina teacher who's reluctant to show her face for fear of losing her job says at her school, all the teachers know what's on the test, and the principal encourages them to cheat.
Has he ever said, cheat, give them the answers, give them the questions, teach the test?
Teach the items that are on the test, teach the material that will be on the test.
How do you know what's on the test?
We see the test.
She says the school administration gave her the test a week before test day. When she questioned this, she says she was told by her principal to be a team player.
Have you ever looked at those papers the kids turned in and corrected them?
I've never changed them, but I know people that have.
People at your school have changed answers?
Yes.
It can be as blatant as that. But the most common form of cheating is what teachers euphemistically call test preparation. See the test, then teach the test. That's a crime in South Carolina. Only one teacher has ever been prosecuted, Nancy Jurgen.
You gave them the exact questions and answers.
I simply taught the material, but I used the specific material that was going to be asked in the test. I didn't teach them all about all of the invasions in World War II, knowing that only the Berlin airlift was going to be covered. I just simply dealt with the Berlin airlift.
And the question and the answer?
Yes, exactly the material they would be asked. And I did not give them any of the related material that might confuse them.
You zeroed them in on
Yes, I did.
Precisely the question.
Yes, I tried
Precisely the answer.
The exact material.
And the same questions were used year after year, correct?
Right. This was, when I gave the test last year, that was the 8th year the same identical test had been used, verbatim.
Nancy Jurgen, among the most popular teachers at Greenville High, once named Teacher of the Year by the PTA. After she was caught, she says she heard from other teachers who told her cheating was commonplace.
I know of some schools that have bi-weekly meetings at grade levels to go over material that's going to be given on the test.
John Graham Altman, attorney and longtime member of the Charleston County School Board in South Carolina. Cheating in his school district, he says, is so widespread the tests have become meaningless.
I think they have less value than a broken clock. They just don't give you any useful information.
The most compelling evidence Altman offers that there's something very fishy in the system is that while South Carolina's elementary and high school achievement scores soar over the national average, the state is at the bottom nationally in college boards and other tests local schools do not control.
I think it's just sheer fraud to tell a student or his parents that he's doing better than he really is.
The effect of this is that it allows poor schools to continue to be poor and escape the eye of public inquiry.
Dr. John Cannell has become something of a legend in the world of education. His watchdog group, called Friends for Education, has been tracking the whole business of achievement testing. He says the public education system is riddled with cheating, that the education establishment, in using test results to show progress, is committing a nationwide scam.
Headline story, front page story, Washington, D.C. students score well on national test. Well, that story is printed by the Chicago Tribune and the San Francisco Chronicle and the Los Angeles Times and even the New York Times. And everywhere, superintendents are able to feed these bogus test scores to the print media. The scores are printed, the superintendent gets their raises, and the people of that state are convinced that they're not part of a nation at risk.
Dr. Cannell says the only unusual thing about the Nancy Yergin case was that it became public when this Greenville High teacher blew the whistle. She is Catherine Rice. A year ago, she was supervising an achievement test in her homeroom class when she saw one of Nancy Yergin's students pull out a stack of notes.
I glanced at them and realized they were a copy of the test, a handwritten copy of the test with the answers underlined.
Questions?
Questions and answers. 6 pages.
Were you surprised by this?
Yes, I was floored.
I understand that he took the notes from we took in class with him to the test and hoped to use them to help him answer the questions on the test. That was cheating.
But
where had he gotten the notes? Right?
where had he gotten the notes?
From me. Right. The material from me.
Nancy Yergin says she was encouraged by her principal, Linda Ward, who she says told her that when she was a teacher, she had done similar preparation for her students, and that it was important to get those test scores up.
She said to me at that time, she looked at me and she said, "We've got to get more teachers doing what you're doing. They're playing that same game everywhere else, and we're just not taking part."
That's not true. And I'm sorry that an untrue statement like that has been made. I never cheated, I never condoned cheating, I never encouraged cheating, and I never implicitly gave anyone a green light.
Is there pressure on you as principal to get those scores up?
No. No. We all like to have good scores. We like our school to show up well on that list in the newspaper. But the real pressure I feel is to do a good job with the curriculum. And, of course, I don't get a bonus. No matter what the scores are, principals don't get any bonuses.
But the school does.
This school gets some money, yes.
Not just the school. The state also rewards teachers, cash bonuses to those whose classes show improved test scores. A number of teachers at Greenville High received bonuses, Nancy Yergin among them. Linda Ward denies putting pressure on teachers. She says when Nancy Yergin was caught, she turned the matter over to the district superintendent. Nancy Yergin says she did not tell the superintendent about the pressure she felt from her principal.
He said to me, "If I thought your principal knew about this, she would be in as much trouble as you're in." And when those words came out of his mouth, that really, I did not reveal that to him.
Why not?
Why? Because of my feeling for Linda.
Nancy Yergin says she idolized Linda Ward, wanted to be like her, and even now, a year after the incident, she can barely mention her name without tears. Ward offered to let Yergin resign. Yergin chose to fight. It became a public issue. WYFF, a local TV station, covered a public hearing in which a crowd of parents and students rallied to Yergin's support.
She takes time with us and she really explains everything in detail and she cares about us and she really shows it.
To no avail. She was fired and shortly after was arrested for breach of test security. She took to the airwaves.
Do you think it was bad that your son was given that study sheet ahead of time?
Absolutely not. We love you, Nancy.
Live.
Hang in there.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
But finally, her nerve gave out and she pleaded guilty and was fined $500. The 90-day jail sentence was suspended, and then the final blow. Her teaching certificate was withdrawn. Nancy Yergin will never teach again.
I didn't establish the penalties, nor did she, but she certainly knew prior to cheating what the possible consequence was.
Can you and Linda Ward look at each other in the eye these days?
I haven't seen Linda in a long time. I would like to. But I don't think she wants to see me.
What would you say to her?
I'm sorry.
The state accused her of cheating for money for the total of $5,000 in bonuses she received over 2 years. She denies it. She says she was only trying to help the poor kids, the black kids.
A lot of these children are disadvantaged, and for them to have an experience, one more knockdown experience, and one more time of being told, you're nothing, you're stupid, you're less than quality. You're told that often enough, pretty soon you believe it. And then you wonder why they don't want to stay in school.
Dr. Cannell believes Nancy Yergin's attitude is common, that the net effect of making exceptions for the poor and the black at test time is a form of racism.
In fact, what these tests do is hide the great inequality in American education. If you're born poor and black in South Carolina, you're going to stay poor and black all your life because the public schools, when you finish the public schools in South Carolina, you're going to be illiterate.
Cannell concentrates his anger on achievement testing in the poorest parts of the country. But the corruption of the system seems to be everywhere. The Franklin Avenue School in Los Angeles, one of 68 California schools in which principals and teachers were caught cheating, caught erasing and correcting wrong answers. In Memphis, Tennessee, one teacher confessed that with the principal's complicity, students were given copies of the test before taking it. And teachers have been caught cheating in Texas and Illinois.
Everybody in education knows what's going on. And the State Department of Education is one of your greatest culprits here in this state. They ride those test scores, and they go up and they say, give us more money, hire more people, pay them bigger salaries. It's a racket, and the public's suffering for it, and the taxpayers are hurting, and I guess most of all, the kids are hurting.
Dr. Charlie Williams, the superintendent of South Carolina's Department of Education, dismisses such allegations.
A lot of people may say a lot of things that don't make them accurate. That doesn't make them accurate.
He says the pressures teachers feel to get the scores up have a positive effect.
I think the pressure causes people to teach more effectively. The assumption that's being drawn by you and others is that that pressure causes teachers to become cheaters and dishonest people.
I asked, how do you know it's not going on?
Well, first of all, most teachers are sincere about teaching kids rather than making the test scores look good.
People that think that need to come down to the real classroom and see what's going on.
If everybody knows, how come nothing's been done?
It doesn't benefit any school person to do anything about it. Can you think of one, well, I'm not supposed to be asking questions, but can you think of any school official who benefit from low test scores?
Never mind test scores, Dr. Cannell feels this whole story can be reduced to two fundamental questions.
What do your children know, and when do they know it? Because if you don't get an accurate answer to that question, your child is going to join the increasing numbers of young adult illiterates in this country, and it's going to be too late.